So I also want to let those of you who are on the call, who are our behavioral health providers, know that we still do not know. Oh, can you not hear me?
Is he dead?
And
I can hear you.
Oh, you can? Okay. If you can't hear me, you well, you won't be able to hear what I'm saying. Can you put a note in the chat to ask them to, they might need to change their microphone. Okay, so yes, so this actually leads, well, let me say this first and then I'll say the next thing. So for our behavioral health providers on the call, we still don't know when we're going to go live with Jiva. So we still want to train everyone today and offer this training, but we will do a refresher course once we know when it's when we're going to go live with Jiva. So we will be doing that. I want to let everyone know that this sound issue leads well into the next thing I have to say. Lakeisha and I are teaching you how to use Jiva today. We are not IT experts. We are both LCSWs. So if you're having trouble with your Teams meeting, we can try to help as best we can, but we're not experts in Teams. So we may not be able to assist on your end of how things are going awry. So we have two screens pulled up. You'll see I keep looking up. It's because we have another screen pulled up. And that way we can see to make sure that you're seeing what we're seeing and vice versa. So that if there are problems, we are also seeing those problems in real time. So we will do our best though. I do want to have us take a look at the agenda again. So you want to pull that up again? Yeah.
Hi.
If everyone could mute themselves.
I have a quick question. We're not able to see the screen with the PowerPoints on it.
there's no.
Yeah, we don't have anything sharing. We're not sharing anything on the screen right now.
Okay, thank you.
So Lakeisha here is pulling up the agenda right now that hopefully you'll be able to see. So here's the agenda. I do want to say too, we are going to record this session. We've recorded the other two. Whichever one is our best one, that's the one we're going to post online so that you will be able to continue to refer to the training in case you need it. But let's review the agenda now. The reason I want to really take a look and dive into the agenda is because we found during the trainings, and it's very understandable. Oh, can you make it bigger? Just at the bottom there where the plus, do you see it there? Yeah. There you go. Okay. So very understandably, we know that folks get anxious. We're moving to a new system. It's anxiety provoking. We do not expect you to be experts on Jiva after this 2-hour demo. We will be working with you as we all go live. We hope you will be patient with us. We will be patient with you. We know there's going to be bumps in the road, but hopefully this will be helpful. But as people get anxious as we're going through the stuff, we found that people really want to jump in with questions that we're going to be addressing later in the agenda. It's helpful if you can kind of save your questions. If you see on the agenda here that we're going to be covering something, if you could wait till we get to that section and see if your questions are answered before asking your question, that would be great. The part we're particularly have found is that when we show you how to submit a request, all of a sudden people jump in with questions about, well, how do I copy the SAR? How do I submit my reauthorization? And if you see here, pretty far down on the agenda, we're going to be covering that, how to request what we call it in Jiva is an extension. So what we currently call it in Alpha is concurrent or continued stay request. So we will be covering those things. We'll be covering you see that last bullet point, checking the status of your request. We're going to show you how to print your authorization notification out. So you have it for your records, how to check to make sure it was authorized, how to print that out, where to find your authorization number on the report, all that kind of thing will be going. Someone needs to mute, please. Looks like, okay, there we go. So as we go through, like I said, and Lakeisha has said, for those of you who are on a little earlier, put your questions in the chat and we will go through those questions. It's just easier as you're watching the demo if we don't have people come off mute and try to ask questions as Lakeisha's going through things. We will stop and answer questions at the end of each of these bullet points on the agenda. So like we're going to show you how to log into Jiva. Then we'll stop and see if there are questions in the chat we haven't answered. I will, in real time, be answering some questions in the chat. Some people during the trainings have found this to be a little bit distracting because you keep getting pop-ups of messages and questions and such. So I wanted to show you how to mute the conversation, because I think that will be helpful. I just use your mouse, Lakeisha. Yeah, if you could just continue sharing there. So for those of you who are logged in, under the Teams app, what you'll see is if you go down and you have this little Teams app and you'll see the chat feature over here. And this is our chat. This is the training we're in. And you'll see, oh, it's because it's you. Yeah, just say hi everyone or something like that. Yep. So you see the chat and see I'm getting pop-ups on my screen. So what you can do is go over here and where those three little, it will look like a camera, but then when you hover over the camera, it'll turn to three little dots. Hit those and just hit mute. And when you do that, you'll stop getting those notifications that pop up. So that's if you're on the app. Now, I'm going to have Lakeisha stop sharing her screen here. And I'm going to share my screen. Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to share my screen because I'm logged in on the browser. So if you are on the browser, you will not have that little thing at the bottom of your screen. I mean, I have it because I have the app on my computer, but you will see that you'll see there that it's not activated right now. What you should have if you're just like on an internet page to do this meeting, you should see over here on the left side of your screen, it says chat. And then you click on that and it will take you to the screen that we saw on the other one. And same thing, you're just going to go over here, click those three dots, hit mute. And then now you'll stop getting the pop-ups and you won't hear the little ding. So that if you're finding the chat too distracting, just go ahead and mute it. And that I think will be helpful to you. So now let me go back here. All right, so there's kind of just our little tutorial on Teams and how to do the chat. If folks again could have their, and I may have not mentioned this, have your cameras off. When the cameras are on, it makes the network run slower, so sometimes we get delays and such. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of pop-ups here. But now I do want to also show you some resources for you. So if you go to our homepage, so if you log into our homepage and you go to For Providers, and then Charlene needs to be muted. Okay, thank you. So go to Provider Forms and Documents over here, and then scroll down. Oops, sorry. scroll down to utilization management, and you're going to see the first three, and let me try to make this bigger for you. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so go down, you'll see logging into Jiva, and open this, you'll see that here are step-by-step instructions. And this is the first agenda item that Lakeisha is going to go through, is you'll see step-by-step instructions for you to have. You can download these, print them, keep them on your computer. It will tell you how to log into Jiva. Then we have one submitting an initial behavioral health outpatient request. And you will see this. It will tell you who should use this guide. We're going to talk a little bit more about it when we get to that. And then you will see again, it's step-by-step instructions, which hopefully you will find helpful of how to do everything Lakeisha is going to show you how to do today. So you may want to pull these up and you know, take some notes or just follow along, or you might just wish to follow along with Lakeisha and then know that you have these as a reference for the future. So if you're like, I can't remember what she did, then you could go back to this. And then we have one for physical health inpatient request. For if we have any behavioral health inpatient requests, or behavioral health inpatient providers on the call today, it's the exact same steps. I'm just working on one that will have screenshots that are particular to you with service codes that you're used to and such, but otherwise it's exactly the same. And again, you'll see it step by step. We've really tried to make it as easy as possible so you could pick this up and never have seen Jiva before and be like, oh, okay, I do this, then I do that, then I do that, and feel like you have it handled. So more guides will be coming, the behavioral health inpatient one, the physical health outpatient one how to request an extension or a concurrent request and how that's different from alpha. So all those are coming. Unfortunately, we've had some setbacks in terms of access to the site to get the screenshots for it because of configuration that's been having to happen. So once we're able to kind of get those in order, they'll be posted. We'll send out a notice that they're all posted and you'll be able to get those. So let me close this here. Where am I here? You all don't want to see any of this here, so how do I get you all back? Oh. Come back over here. I'm going to stop sharing now. I do want to mention just a couple more things and then we'll get started. Our other two sessions have run over by about a half hour both times. We really want to be respectful of your time, but we also don't want to rush you if you're feeling like you have questions you need to be answered. The reason we've run over is because there have been a lot of questions. So it's fine. We're happy to stay longer and answer your questions. I just want to give everyone a heads up on that. I do want to say that this training is, we are going to show you how to click buttons in Jiva. This is not a training on what the requirements are. It's not a training on how many units you should request for a certain service. We will not, unfortunately, be able to show you every service code and how to request that service code for every provider on here today. But everything we're showing you, you can do for any service code and anything you provide. So we wish we could do it for every single service. It would just be impossible, unfortunately. Or we could have, 12 days of training, which I'm sure none of you have time for or want. So the other things, let's see, I think I've said, I do want to say the last thing before I turn it over is from the chat, we're pulling your questions and answers. And some of the questions you'll find we won't be able to answer today. So we will have to get back to you. On our website, we will post all questions and answers for you to go back to so that you can see it. We'll alert you when those are posted. Once we had the delay in the Jiva Go Live, we decided wait till all three of these trainings are over, and then we'll compile all the questions and answers and post them all together. So you'll get a recording of the training. You have the training guides that some are already posted, more will be posted, and you're going to have the questions and answers. So we're really hoping that this will help you all feel comfortable with Jiva, that you'll feel confident with it. because we know you kind of got thrown into alpha and kind of just had to figure it out. And we really are hoping that this will be a better experience for you, but we also realize it's confusing. You're going to hear stuff and you're going to be like, this is so confusing, I don't understand it. Like I said, we will be doing a refresher. You're going to have all those resources hopefully right at your fingertips. So we're really hoping you at least, even if you walk away saying, I'm confused, I don't really know what to do, we hope you will at least walk away saying, I know they're providing me resources that I'll be able to access. And if I have questions and I get confused the first several times I do these authorizations, they're going to work with me. I'm going to work with them because they're also new to this and confused. And so hopefully we'll all feel comfortable at least with knowing that fact, even if we're still like, oh, this is new and we're confused and we don't like it. Hopefully at least we can feel settled that we're all going to work together. So
Right.
I'm going to turn it over to Lakeisha, but are there any questions? Like I said, the very first thing we're going to do is how to log into Jiva. So that's what she's going to go into, but are there any questions about anything I've said? And you can just put it in the chat.
Nothing you
Nothing?
said, but they're asking about Rubicon management.
Yes, we do still contract with Rubicon, as far as I know, yeah. No, we don't have a go live date yet. As soon as we know it, we will alert you, and we will be giving, like I said, we'll offer a refresher because some folks now have, it's been 3 weeks since they trained on this. So, because we were expecting a go live of March 1st, but now that it's been delayed, we suspect people will need a refresher. So we'll be doing a refresher. It will also be a chance if there was anyone who wasn't able to attend the training that they can attend and see what's going on. So if you have folks in your agencies who you're like, they weren't able to attend any of the 3 trainings, hopefully they'll be able to attend the refresher. If you haven't been able to submit a SAR in Alpha, get with us about your particular issues later, maybe tomorrow or Monday, because you should be able to. We have had some issues with some providers getting error messages in Alpha. I've been working with IT on those. So just get with us and hopefully we can work it through.
All right, so we're going to get started with our Jiva presentation and kind of show you how to submit SARs and what Jiva looks like. So as everybody here should know Alpha, because that's what we use now to submit authorizations. So this screen should look very, very familiar to you. Well, good, because this is the screen how you're going to be able to get to Jiva. So there's not going to be any new, usernames or passwords that you will have to acquire to get into Jiva. You will get into Jiva through your Alpha system. So however you log into Alpha is how you will get to Jiva. As you can see, this is the front of Alpha. I am going to put in my password. I have got it. And as you get into Alpha, you all know this is what you will see. Your first thing is always our announcements or anything new or anything that we want to share with you guys. That's always the front page of when you go into Alpha.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt, Lakeisha. But I did want to just say, I should have mentioned this earlier. We know that your attention is split. When we're working, our attention is often split as well. We know you're trying to multitask and you've got a lot going on. As present as you can be is helpful. What we have found in previous trainings is people are asking the same question over and over again that has already been answered. And we know it's because you're distracted but it does, that's part of the reason we've been running a half hour over is because we're answering the same questions over and over again. So the best you can do to kind of just be present today for these this next hour and a half or so is going to be helpful to you and to us to get through and be respectful of your time.
In a timely manner,
yeah.
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lakeisha.
So as I said, this is the first part of in Alpha when you sign in that you will see. How you get to Jiva is just this green button here. And once you click that button, that will take you into Jiva. And this is going to be the home screen of Jiva. I'm going to, anytime you're going out of Jiva, please do not do the X button up here or any back buttons. These are not good when you're working in Jiva because it offsets and you will lose information. It will mess up your sign in. We were told to never use the X button. If you want to go out of Jiva, you'll go over to the right-hand corner, you'll click the drop down and you will log out. And of course you will say, okay, when you log out, it needs to say you're successfully logged out. Then you can X out of the Jiva from your browser. It will take you right back to your Alpha system. We leave Alpha is still set up because you still can check your authorizations in Alpha. You still can check claims and stuff in Alpha. So things are still active in Alpha. You just can't submit SARs in Alpha when we go live. Again, I just want to kind of show you all again, this is where the Jiva button is once you log into Alpha. You click on the Jiva button and it will take you to your home screen. Your home screen looks like this. Now mine is very, very colorful because we've been working, trying to present this for you guys over the last 3 weeks. We've been having some cases, but we want to show you just about what you will see on your screen. Of course, the first time you log into Jiva, that's all right. At first, when you log into Jiva, of course, none of this will be all blank until you start to use Jiva. But this way I can kind of show you what you will be seeing with the active caseload in Jiva. So again, this is your home screen and it's called the dashboard. As you can see, it always tell you what you're doing in the corner, in the left-hand corner. Up here, these never, every screen you go to, this will always be up top. So you can maneuver back to where you need to be. Your dashboard is what we see here. That's the beginning, that's your opening screen. And then you'll have a menu button. And that menu button is how you're going to enter a member's name. If you want to know information about the member, you can enter a new request from the menu. You can search a request from the menu. And those are the 3. Right now, we don't have anything as a survey, but that might be something we'll be doing in the future. But as of right now, we don't have anything per a survey. So this is how you can get to members and authorizations. Your memory list is very important because once you're in Jiva, one thing about the memory list, it can take you back to things that you probably did, 5-10 minutes ago, and you don't want to go back through the menu and search for that member. Your memory list can kind of take you back to some things that you were doing. You can hold up to 10 items or 10 things in Jiva within the memory list. Once you hit your 10th one, it's going to tell you that your memory is full and you're going to have to do something about it in order to continue in Jiva. I'll show you some of that a little bit later when we start to get some things in, do some things so you can see what that looks like. So down here, we talked about, again, this will always be in each screen. Down here is going to be any alerts that you would get, any messages that you would get. And this is really important. These are going to be your request, kind of like your SAR list is what this will be. This right here, this Gap Secure, is really for care managers. So if you're not a care manager, this is really not something that you would need to worry about. So if I click on my requests, it'll open up and you'll see it has all your requests. That you have, and it will tell you what type of request. It will tell you your cert number, your episode number. Your episode number is what we call our SAR numbers. That's what we used to in Alpha. Your cert numbers is relevant to your claims. It's gonna be like your claims for billing. So if you ever need information about billing or you're talking to one of your billing specialists, you can give them that cert number and they will probably be able to pull up that and help you with it. But your episode number, that's what we call SAR. Of course, the member's name, the date that it was created or requested, the diagnosis, what service code you requested. Of course, it would be yourself as the provider, who created it and who submitted it is here. And then here's your status, what's going on with your request. And if it's, this is gonna be your reviewer's name, who the request is assigned to. Right now, it just says it's assigned to a behavioral health, mental health. That's just because right now we are not live, so it's not going to a particular person. It's only going to our, what we call a behavioral health work list on our side. Once we become live, it will say who the reviewer is. So this is a really good at glance information that you can have, because you can see, you don't have to click in it to, see who hasn't been processed or who has. If it says process, that means that this service has already has a decision. If it says pending decision, that means that we're still reviewing it. Here's a good one. This means that further information is required. So apparently your reviewer is probably asking you some information. This one is saying that it's still in review, pending decision. So those are really good information at a glance. And all you have to do is say, oh, wait, this further information, which is really important for you, because you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is why they need something from me. They might need a documentation, or they might need to talk to me. So this is really good information to know. So if you want to know, oh, wait a minute, what do they need? You'll just click. I'm going to tell you this from the beginning. I'm probably going to say it throughout this training. It's always good. I don't know how you all keep up with your records of who you submit your SARs, when you submit your SARs, how you keep up when they're submitted. I think I've talked to a lot of providers that say they have spreadsheets so they know when they submitted it, so they know when the reauthorization comes. I don't know if you have SAR numbers on your list that you have created, or however you keep up with it. If not, I'm going to suggest that you add that. Jiva keeps all your information. It does not go away. So it's going to be difficult for you to keep up with your stuff and knowing where your stuff is if you don't have that cert number or the episode number. I will have both of them down. Just because you may need to talk to billing, they need that number. If you need to talk to us, we would need the episode number. Either one of those numbers we can help you with. So I just want to show you, if you just click, like further information is needed. If you click in the member's name, that's going to take you to the member's overview. This is very important. So the member's overview, as you can see on the left-hand corner where it says episodes, this is all this member's episodes that is going on with that they've had requested and we have authorized, or even been to physical health. Because you remember, guys, we are going to merge into physical health. So that would tell you this member will have a lot of episodes. And if you don't keep up with your episode, and here your episode ID right here and your cert number, if you don't keep up with those, then you're going to lose your, which one is it? You're going to have to go through all of these to figure it out. And just now, because I didn't write down that cert number, now I don't know which one needs further, now I don't know which one needs further information. So I'm going to remember it this time. Further information, and it's this one, and the last three numbers of the cert number is 173. So when I click on that, I'm gonna look for the cert number 173. And as you can see, it's all the way down here. So if I didn't know that number, I would have been clicking for a while. I want to tell you about the little wheel things here. If you see the little wheel here, this is an action. I call it an action wheel. It tells you things that you can do. We'll talk about a lot of these other things, but if you want to kind of see what's going on for that member, these going to show you ways to do that. So if I open up the case to kind of see what the provider needs, you can go over and you can look at a note, and these are where your note section is going to be. It looks like you can open up, and I'll show you a lot more when we go into the presentation a little bit more. Let's see what's further. It looks like this one is actually approved. Yep, it's been approved. So go back to my request. What's in this one? Here we go. Here we go. I don't know where I was at first, but here it is now, 173. And as you can see, I left a message saying, please upload CCA to SAR. If you have any questions, feel free to call me. So that told you that, oh, wait a minute, I have something that she needed that I didn't get to upload. So going back again, these do not change. Going back to my dashboard. That's why my request is very important for you to probably look at as soon as you get into Jiva. You might want to look at that to see what been processed, what haven't been processed, and maybe something that was left for you that needs more information. What else you would see on, I am a visual person. I love these graphs because I like colors. I think they show things that make me feel like I'm doing something new. I see a lot of colors. So here is going to be your work in progress. And your work in progress is just going to be telling you what you did today, in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and then more than 3 days. So it really gives you a glance on what's been going on for the last three days at a glance. It will tell you how many SARs are pending submission. That means you have not finished the SAR, or your something there is still, it's not fully submitted. This one here is what we were talking about earlier. You submitted it, but it's been sent back for further information required. So you can click in here in any of these bars and it will show you, bring you up to a chart, and it will show you, oh, I didn't finish this. It's not finished. And again, know your cert number, because that's how you're going to find it. Say, oh, I got to finish Stacy's request. I forgot. So you'll click in Stacy request. It'll take you to her member overview. Look for that SAR number that we talked about, or that cert number that we talked about. And then you can finish that request. Going back to the dashboard. So again, that SAR that we looked at for that further information, there it is. You can open that SAR up and say, oh, Keisha needs a document. Keisha needs this. So it's really easy for you to get to the information without going through a lot of other avenues to get there. Very good on the eye as far as first glance. These are your pending decisions. These are the SARs that you have submitted. You waiting on OUM, all that staff over there to process them. Remember, side note, we do have 14 days to process. I just want to throw that in to you guys. But this will show you all the SARs that you have submitted that you're just waiting on an authorization or us to make a decision on. That's your work in progress, like your last 3 days to give you kind of updated where you are currently. This here request by type will give you your whole overview of services and what you have submitted. This will stay in progress. Things will start to fall off after 60 days. So you can have a lot of numbers if you submit. I review one of my services that I review is for peer support, and we get a lot of peer supports. And so over 30 days or 60 days, these numbers will probably be high and probably in the 50s and 60s. But this will give you a glance of what's going on with your total caseload. Like I said, they'll drop off every 60 days. It'll tell you that you have one behavior health that is, and you want to use your coloring graph here. So we have one pending decision and then we have one that's been processed in behavior inpatient. In behavior outpatient, we have one that is pending. We have one that needs further information, and we have 3 that has been processed. So even these, you can click in and say, oh my God, here's another one, here's a need further information. If you click in there, it will bring that one back up. You can open up that episode and you can see what it is that's needed for that episode. Going back to the dashboard. So it's very good information and you can just click on it at a glance. This one right here is telling you that it's an inpatient. This is a physical health has been processed. One that we have pending submission, and 2 that we have pending decision. Now over here is what you did today. These are your decisions today. So once UM has processed your authorization, once you go onto the dashboard, you will see what's been done today. So I went in today for the training and I approved one today and I denied one today. Not saying that anyone's gonna be denied or anything, but I did it for you all to see. And then I did like a partial denial, which we call a reduction that sometimes we make with providers. And again, here's your color. It will tell you if you want to see what episode was approved, you just click in and it will show you, oh, Stacy was approved for, it looked like a hospitalization she was approved for. And it'll tell you, of course, your name and what diagnosis, but this will give you that information. Oh, that denial did go through. This is going to be very helpful for you guys in the denial and the partial denial, because this will help you remember we got to reach out to the member and see if they want to appeal that denial or not. See if they, what they want to do, because it seemed like the doctor, I want to make sure we know the doctor didn't think it met medical necessity. And therefore, we want to see if our member wants to send in an appeal for that. And that's the same thing with the partial denial. You can always go into that if you need more information, because it should be here. We always put in our notes, we always give you justification of why something was not approved by the doctor or why was it reduced. And like here it says progress is being made. No crisis, member has on apartment 2 times a month appears more appropriate. So that's why it was reduced. Just to kind of glance and show you a little bit over here, it will show you that decision was a partial decision. And why was it it was lack of information that will prove that it met medical necessity for what was asked for. So you can get to a lot of information from this dashboard. And that's pretty much the dashboard when you first log into Jiva. Is there any questions using the dashboard?
We did have a couple questions here that not necessarily directly related to the dashboard or logging in, but I just want to touch on them. Will auth letters in Jiva, will auth letters be in Jiva after the go live date, or will they need to be pulled from Alpha? And we will get to that a little further on, but you will be able to actually pull the auth letters in either spot. We're going to show you how to do it in Jiva today, but so you will not be able to submit requests in Alpha anymore. That you just won't be able to. You'll have to submit them in Jiva, but once we have processed them, you will be able to see the determination in Alpha and pull things out of Alpha like you always have. So there's that one. Then will providers be able to see episodes for a member from other providers? No, not from other providers, but you will be able to see so if there's multiple, say, folks in your organization who submit SARs, you will be able to see everyone in your organization, what they've submitted. So that way, if someone's out sick and has been collecting information, someone else can go in and work that SAR for them on your end. So you will be able to do that. And then our denials automatically mailed to the individual member. Yes, we automatically, any denial or we call them adverse determination, so partial denial, anything like that, we send them a letter. You still will be able to access them either in Jiva or in Alpha. And, as Lakeisha was kind of alluding to, we always, encourage providers to talk with your members about a denial and see if they want to file an appeal and help them with the appeal if they need it. So you still will be able to pull them, but yes, the members do automatically get them. As you can imagine, a lot of our folks and the folks you work with are transient, so we can't guarantee they always go to the address that the member's living at. So that's why, again, it's good for you if you pull it and talk it over with your client. It's always helpful. And that's it so far, Lakeisha.
All right. So our next thing on the agenda is how do we submit an outpatient request? You say. So there's two ways you can submit an outpatient request, and I'm going to show you both ways. I'm going to show you one way when we're going to do it with the outpatient request, and I'm going to show you the other way when we do the inpatient request. So don't worry, you're going to get both of them. So one way to submit a request will be, as we said in the menu, you can say new request. So in the menu, you can just click on the new request. It will bring you to to search for who, or put in who you want to submit the request for. You can do it by their name, their last name, their date of birth, their member type, which probably be really hard to find it, but you have to. So I would just go with this. You have to put in their member ID, which will be their medical records numbers that we
their Alpha ID,
their Alpha ID number that we have for each one. So you will put in that number. Unfortunately for me, though, I have a loan number to put in.
And your numbers won't look anything like this. This is just a training number. Yours will look like the Alpha numbers because they are the Alpha numbers. So.
Yes. Yes. So once you put your number in, you're going to hit search. The client name will come up.
Oh, what? That's weird.
Yeah. You saw it. It didn't take you long to see it, did it? You do a reset. There, that's better. They must have been already out of the testing site. So once you pull up, again, the member name will come up. Then you can, this is the member name will come up, and you can, again, it's a couple of things. This will, I would say, check that will and see what it's having. This is just telling you in this site, it's going to give you like a member abstract, and it's probably going to give you like their demographics and stuff. But we want to start a new episode. So, or SAR. If you hear me go between episode and SAR, that's because we in Alpha say SAR. SAR submission, that's our service authorization request. That's what we go with. But in the JIVA term, they call them episodes. So you'll hear me go probably back and forth, but they mean the exact same thing. Sorry, episode. I'm sorry, I'm just not in JIVA language as of yet. So it's gonna take me a little while. I'm still in Alpha, which we still sort of in Alpha, so it's hard to change. So we want to click on the member's name. And when you click on the member's name, it's going to take you straight to the member overview. Again, the member overview is going to have a lot of information. I'm just going to stop here for just a minute just to go over a couple of things that at site that I think is really nice that JIVA has. At that member's overview, it gives you a lot of information. If you see on this right-hand side, it will give you lab work from physical health or within your agency. You can keep up with all the notes that this member had between us, between UN reviewers with the provider. All of that will be listed here. If they're IDD member, you will see gaps in care. That's usually what this is for, or innovations. Their medication list. This is very important because you're going to have to enter that for your client once they start on board. And how you do that, you'll just click on the add button and you're going to put in the medication. Like they're on Depakote. And it tells you everything. Anytime you see a red asterisk, you see that that's something that you have to, information you have to put in order to go to the next screen or order to save or submit. So remember, anytime you see that, it has to be filled in. So for because I'm a person, I'm going to say any information, even if it doesn't have a red asterisk, that's going to be helpful to ensure that it meets medical necessity would be helpful. So I will say any box that you have information about that client, fill it in, even if it's not a red asterisk. But you have to fill in the ones that's a red asterisk. If the medication was discontinued and it was on the list, you can go in and you can put a discontinued date. Who reported this? Are they compliant with the medications? It's a lot of information on here that I hope that you all will fill in for us as provider or reviewers. And then here you can put in a note. You can say, if you want to give us a message about the medication or anything to that sort. They take it, we're going to say in the morning. Making sure I'm filling in they take one and they take this oral. I'm making sure I'm filling in all my red asterisks. And then once you have all the information in, you will save and add it to their member overview, and you can keep going in and just keep adding. Back to the members overview, and look, this is where we add that medicine. If you want to look into the medicine, you want to add, you want to put, you remember I said you can discontinue the medicine, you can go in here and you can click on add information. It'll take you right back to the screen about the medications. You can add, you can fill in anything, you can make the changes, you can update it, whatever it needs to happen. You got to remember to put the asterisk. Let's just say, oh, they don't take Depakote anymore. As of tomorrow is going to be their last day to take Depakote. Again, I still have to put in, again, whatever is in the red, it has to be, asterisk, it has to be in. And say, oh, the doctor So the doctor discontinued it. And we'll just save that in there. And it's gone because we discontinued that medicine. So you can go in, make the changes, whatever changes you need. Now this right here, this little, I always say the south, east, west kind of arrows, this will just give you, if it had medicine listed, it would just give you everything in one big glimpse so you can see all the medicine at one time. So that's really helpful to know. This right here, I'm gonna go back and say this again. You remember I said, do not ever X out, do not ever use your back button. If you want to get back to things, this is what we call the breadcrumb. That's what the Jiva people would say. If this is how you get back, this right here bar will be where you are in the system. So to get back, you'll just click on member overview and it will take you back to where you were. Again, it's a lot of allergies. If you know your medication allergies, other allergies, this is a lot of good information at glimpse. But we don't want to do that. We want to submit a SAR, Keisha, so let's do that. So in order to submit a SAR, you will click on this right-hand side. It says add a request. When you click on add a request, a little pop-up screen, and they want to know what request you want to add. For us as behavioral health, we're only going to be working in these two columns. The other columns is going to be for our medical, physical health. And if you're not in a hospital, then you're going to be in behavioral health. So unless you're doing inpatient services, you're going to click on behavioral health. So our first one is a behavioral health request. We'll click into that. That will bring you into your request. The first thing you will see at glance is their information. This is their demographics, their address, their phone number. Please always check to make sure this is current, you guys. It's in your face. And if it's not, then we need to update that information. This was very important for us. We get calls about this a lot in UM about, is there Medicaid coverage, current? This will let you know. It will tell you if they're eligible, what coverage they're in. If you see this green dot, that means they are active. If it's a red dot, that means they're not active. So at glance, you will know if their Medicaid is active, what group they were in. If they didn't have Medicaid and they were just in state, that will say that. It will be a state, it will say state in that group instead of Medicaid direct. So these are good, that's good information to have. The first thing you come to is episode details. And that's going to be, well, what are we asking for? What's the request type? The only three that we work with in behavioral health will be concurrent, pre-certification, which is an initial, and if it's a Medicaid issue, sometimes we have to go to retrospective. That is not only if it's a Medicaid issue, we should be using that. As we know, Sandhills Center does not backdate requests. Of course, we're doing an initial, so that's going to be a pre-certification. The next field you're going to have to put in is what is it, an expedited or standard? All our behavioral health requests are standard. They are not expedited. The only expedited request is going to be inpatient. So we have our episode detail. We're moving down to the diagnosis of the member. You can do diagnosis any way. You can look it up by just typing in just little words, and a drop down will come in and say, yep, I want ADHD, hypertype. Soon as you click into the diagnosis, it comes down here in the bar. It allows you to do that so you can, because a lot of our members have multiple diagnoses. You can look it up by putting in just a little bit of the name of the diagnosis, or if you just know the F code, you just put in F, let's see, F20, I think that's, yeah, schizophrenia. Then you'll just put in the F code and it'll drop down and you can just put in paranoid schizophrenia. We only use CD-10 codes for our authorizations. So here is the list. You keep going on and on and on. It does not give you a limit. You keep going. I hopefully, remember, don't have that many diagnoses, but you can keep going on and on. You can also change the start date of the CCA. When did the client or the member, when were they diagnosed with that? So that could be, you can change that start date to the date of the CCA. The highlighted star is telling you this is the primary diagnosis. Say, oh no, the paranoid schizophrenia actually is the primary diagnosis, not the ADHD. It doesn't matter. You don't have to enter it first, the primary first. All you have to do is click in this and it would change that one to the star and it'll let us know that's the primary diagnosis. If you feel like, oh, wait a minute, they don't have ADHD, I put in the wrong diagnosis, that's what this action here has a little minus. And all you have to do is click that. It's going to ask you, Jiva, always want to make sure you're doing what you say or clicking. And it's asking, do you want to just detach this from the request? And you're going to say, okay, that will take that diagnosis out. And then you can go back in and put in the right diagnosis. Say he inattentive. Let's put it that way. So that's your diagnosis. So we have entered our episode detail, our diagnosis. Now we have to attach ourselves to the episode. I know this is going to be different for you guys because it's in Alpha, it's known who the provider is just by your site that comes in where you have to put in the site address on the in Alpha. Well, now you have to attach yourself in Jiva. And to do that, you'll hit attach provider. You'll put in your provider name. I think I'm on Monarch. Put in your provider name and you'll hit search. When you hit search, your provider, your name and all your sites will be listed. And of course, Monarch, I don't want anyone, especially the smaller providers, to look, whoa, that's a lot. But Monarch is one of our biggest providers, so they're going to have a lot. As you can see, they have like 3 pages or 5 pages to go through. But if you're smaller, you will probably have 1 or 2 sites. But your site location would say where the city and the address in the city. So you'll look and see where am I going to be the site that I need to use. I'm trying to find one that's a little in there. Okay, Mapilar is in that area. So we'll use that one. So once you find your site, you see again, the little wheel is an action wheel. You're going to click on that and you're going to hit multiple attach. When I hit that, you didn't see anything. That's because it's waiting on me to hit it again, multiple attach. For behavioral health, you have to click that twice. For
outpatient.
I'm sorry, thank you. Behavioral health outpatient, you have to hit that twice. And when you hit it, you just scroll to the bottom of the screen and there it is. These are your sites. The reason why you have to do it twice is we have to put in the provider role. So the role of the provider is you're going to service this member. And this is going to be, when we go live, the network, if you're in our network, it'll be defaulted to network. And if you're out of our network, you most likely are going to have to click in out of network. So it'll be the opposite. So make sure you're in network. We're going to be servicing this member, providing the service, and we're going to be billing this member or for the service for the member. And you want to make sure you have both of these because if you don't have billing, hopefully it's going to give you a hard stop. We're working on that as we work through all the testing. But If you don't put billing down, you're gonna have an issue because you're not gonna get paid. And your finance people and your agency is gonna be very upset when they try to bill and it's not, you're getting denied. If you don't attach this part to your request, then you won't be able to bill. So you have to have two provider roles in your request. Now say, oh, wait a minute, I meant to put the billing as, a lot of people bill from a different site, but they see them at a, you might be servicing them in High Point, but the billing is in Greensboro at a different site. So you can, again, push this arrow and it would delete that. You go back up and say, okay, our billing is done out of Bisco, so we're gonna attach that. Don't forget multiple attach. And then it's gonna come down here. And make sure you have your servicing and we're in network. So you can delete if you make a mistake within the screen. Once we have our billing and our servicing, we're in network, we're gonna attach it to our request. So here we are. We have our episode detail, we have our diagnoses, we have our attached provider roles, which is billing and servicing. We're in network. So now we're moving down to our service request. Your service type, again, anything that's in the red has to be submitted. But all the information, any new information or information that's not in red that you have is we would like. So the service type would be for behavioral health outpatient, would be mental health. This is place of service. It's like, where are you doing your service? We have a lot of drop down, so a lot of information is here, even though, let's just say we're gonna do it in the office. That's going to be the place where the service is going to take place. It could be in the community, and it could be left blank. It's not, don't have a red asterisk, so it's not something that have to be there. Your next is we're going to go over the code types and the service code. And I always turn it over to my director, Sarah, because she explains it so much better than I can about the types. So I'm gonna move her the mouse for her, but she's gonna explain everything to you.
And Lakeisha is being too humble. She explains it quite fine, but I'm happy to explain it. But so different than Alpha, for Jiva, you need to know which coding convention you're using when you request your procedure code. So there are three primary ones that we will be using: CPT. The HCPC is pronounced HCPCS, and revenue. So we'll start with CPT. CPT, the rule of thumb there is that it's going to be it's going to be a number that's 5 digits long. And so the common ones for behavioral health are the 90837s, the 90847, all those outpatient ones. All those outpatient therapy, psychotherapy ones, those are going to be the common CPT codes there. So you can see she put in 90837 and it came up. Now she's going to click on HCPCS and put 90837 in. And you'll see no records found, it says at the top there. So it's because she's on the wrong convention, the wrong coding convention. So HCPCS is what most of our behavioral health providers are going to be using. And the rule of thumb there is that HCPCS codes start with a letter. So all of our enhanced services and such, those are all going to be HCPCS codes. So you'll see she pulled up PSR there, and it came up. Now she went to CPT, which it defaults to CPT. So say, oh, I forgot to change it. And then she tried to type in the PSR code. Again, it says no records found. The other code is revenue code. That's really used by our institutional levels of care. And like our hospitals will be very familiar with this code, 0101. And the rule of thumb there is those are numbers. They are all numbers and they're 4 digits long. So really the good news is though, is say you get in here and it's saying no records found and you're like, I know, just play around with the codes until you get to one that will accept. I will be honest, the way it's set up, if you entered a revenue code under CPT, it will still find it. So, but HCPCS, if you confuse HCPCS and CPT, just realize, oh, let me check code type. Let me make sure I'm checking the code type. And if you don't remember your code, Lakeisha's going to show this in a minute. I'm going to turn it back over. There, you can start typing the words in. And if you, again, are not getting a search result, just check your code type.
And as she said, I could type in a word like, we could do, just lost my.
Social rehab again?
Oh, I could do psycho. See, was typing in psychosocial rehabilitation and there it is. So you can, again, kind of like your diagnosis, if you just start typing in the definition, it will bring up a drop down that will allow you to kind of look. So there's ways that you can put in if you don't know the service code, but I'm sure most of you all know the service codes that you all work with. A lot of our providers do services that require all services. I know outpatient is one. I know community support teams is one, peer support. And if you do, ACT has all services codes, maybe. And if you do use the all service code, all of those codes are in the HCPCS. You have to use the HCPCS code type. So say that I am wanting to do all services with, let's look at FCT, then you'll just put in the 3. It has to be a 3-digit number. I know these codes are types and codes, so it can be confusing. And on the printout that Sarah had uploaded to the site has these codes for you all. If you don't, we will definitely get them to you.
Yeah, can I show it real quick, Lakeisha?
Oh yeah, you can show them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop sharing right quick and she's gonna show you where you can find.
Share my screen here, just give me a second. Okay, so you should be seeing my screen now. So if you go to this training guide here, the submitting an initial behavioral health outpatient request one, and you scroll all the, sorry to make you dizzy, but you scroll all the way down to the bottom. The very last page are all your codes for all services. So when you say, well, I, do CST and we usually request all services, but I don't know what code Sandhills is using for that. You can go right here to this chart and be like, okay, there's CST, it's 010. That's how I'm going to request all the codes for CST at one time.
Right.
So just go here. If you forget it, like I said, it's the very last page of that training guide. And in the training guide, when you're looking through it, there's even a prompt of go to the last page and it will give you the codes for the all services. So that's where you go. And as Lakeisha already pointed out, it shows you right here, request it as a HCPCS code. Even though I know it doesn't follow the rule of thumb, that it starts with a letter, we understand that. These are codes basically made up by Sandhills Center for you all to use. So, all right.
So that you all can continue to do the all services.
Yes. Okay. Stop sharing.
Share again. Okay, so let's put in like an all service. One of them, like she said, was CST. So we're going to click on CST for all services. Then you're going to add your start date, which we want to start, say we want to start Monday. And then for CST, the original authorization goes for 60 days, or everybody knows when their authorization is 60 days, 30 days authorization. None of that changes because we're moving to JIVA. Your expectation of when we review or the service time frame is still the same. I'm just saying for CST, it's 60 days, so we'll go out March, April, May. So we'll end that on the 13th, and we're gonna ask for, typically with CST, it's gonna be 460 for initial request. Once you have your request in, you're gonna add that. You're gonna hit add, and it's going to bring your request down here. And this is because, you know, if you need to do another request, that's fine. You can go back and add. If you need to subtract that one, say that's not right, that's the service number is not right, you can delete this. Just say I'm gonna pick a CPT code and you're doing outpatient. And sometimes we like for Alpha to get our units for us. You know how it is weekly, when you say daily, I know a lot of our residential placements like to do daily. If you want it to calculate the units for you, you will have to go into optional fields. In the optional field, don't worry about the UCR costs. You go into the time frame. I'm going to see this client one time a week, so you'll go per week. If it's daily, you'll pick day. How long am I going to see this member? And we typically see a member for outpatient for 3 months. So you would put, because it's in weeklies, we have to put it in weeks. So if it's per week, how many weeks are we going to see them? So that will go around 12, 14 weeks. Then automatically, if you saw that, it automatically changed the end date and it also changed your request. Again, it's 1 unit. We're going to see them for 14 weeks because that's what we put here. If it's a daily, say it is a residential and you see them daily and you see them for a month, so that's 30, just say it's 31 days in that month, then as you can see, that authorization again automatically changed the end date and how many units you're requesting. So we're going to add that in. So we have, and we know you're not going to have both outpatient in community support team because you can't, because community support team has outpatient in it. So, but I'm just for testing, I just want to show you different ways. And if there's another one you want to add, you just keep putting them in and they will keep adding down. It'll keep showing you. And if you're like, oh, that's not right, you need to change it, you need to correct it, you can always push the minus button, which I'm going to push because you can't have both of those. And it will just take it away and you can go in and add more. So once you're done with that, we'll move down to documentation. Documentation does not have the red asterisk because all services does not require documentation. However, if the service you're doing requires documentation based on the service definition, you have to put in documentation. Just because we don't want to hear, oh, it didn't have a red asterisk. We know that your service And we know community support team, you have to have a CCA and a person-centered plan. So your document type title would just be a PCP or whatever document you're gonna upload. Your date and time is always pre-stamped, defaulted for you. You'll just go into, I'm gonna say PCP, it should be in here. It is. It is. You're gonna browse to find it, the PCP, and then you're going to, as you can see, it's here that you have downloaded it into the authorization. If you need, this is where if you need to upload another documentation, in order to do that, you first have to check your review. So you'll click check your review. You want to see that it's saved successfully. If it didn't, if you missed something up here, it will tell you, would not check for review if everything up top is not correct. It will give you a message saying start date or whatever is missing. This is the only way you're going to be able to enter the second documentation. So now I want to enter the CCA. And we'll put today's day. And the second one, you'll have to put the time. And the time is in military time, which is something that I had to, I'm going to probably struggle with because I can't off the base know what military time is. But I think it's 4:18 and military time. I think it's 16:18. Am I right?
I know. I'm terrible at military time.
If I'm wrong, you all don't beat me up if I'm wrong. So, and we're going to browse again because it has no file, and we're going to upload the CCA. As you can see, the CCA is there. It might not be down here, but it is there. The thing about Jiva, and hopefully we're still working with that team because we have told them that we upload multiple documentation. One good thing, we have heard that there is not a limit. So that's a good thing because I know Alpha would say you exceed your limit. So if you all want to get, because we can only do 2 on this screen, if you want to do a packet, that'll be fine. It should be able to upload. So if you want to say in your documentation description, you're uploading, and you can list the CCA, PCP, any other documentation that's, that's in that packet. You can put it in there and just do it that one time. We're okay with that. But you can also do the individual ones as well. We have uploaded our documentation. Now it's time to put in the justification for the authorization. That's what notes mean. Note is always going to be web note. Web note is what you, even though it's going to be a lot of drop down, we're not going to see it if you click on. We're trying to get it where this is the only thing that will pop up on your end. So far, we're not 100% sure if that's going to happen.
Right.
So I'm telling you now, only use WebNote. Nothing else. We won't see it if you don't use WebNote. That's our communication between the provider and Sandhills. So make sure it's WebNote. And the note type is going to be your justification. That's your justification for services. We also, because we don't have a view cycle, you know how we do in Alpha, we as a reviewer know who submits the SARs or the episodes. In Jiva, we do not. So we're asking all providers at the end of your justification for service, put your name, your phone number, address, any kind of how we can get back if there's any issue Because you might not see that request and see that further information needed. And if you work with Sandhills and enough, we like to call and follow up with our providers. So we have to have your name and how to get in contact with you if we have a question about this authorization. So you'll put in your, that paragraph that you usually put for justification of service. Just at the end, put your name, phone number, and email address. When you're done, you're going to submit. If you're not done, if you say, oh, I need waiting on something, you can save as a draft. We'll go over that soon, but we are wanting to submit because that's what we're doing. We're submitting the outpatient request. When you submit, it's done because it says submitted successfully up here. It will show you what you submitted. It will show you your request. It will show you that's the code, the HIPAA codes for all services for community support team. It will give you your CERT number. You remember I told you, please keep up with your CERT number. I will go ahead and jot it down right now so you will know. Matter of fact, I'm going to do it now on my paper so I know when I need to go back to this. And Sarah would know because she's going to go in and approve it for us so we can talk about extensions. So if you want to print this out, if you want to say to print out, put it in the file that you did submit the episode of the SAR, you go to episode abstract, and that will make it printable. It will tell you, the member's ID. It would give you the CERT number, which the episode number your SAR number. And remember I said jot those down so you would know. Your notes to give you all your information here, what you what you request, how many units you request. So it's printable. Here, all you gotta do is click on the printable view, and then you should be able to print it. So we have just submitted a behavior health outpatient request. To get out of this, you'll just go back to your overview and it will show here, as we can say, that CERT number. And they have told us that the last thing you did will be up top, but we've learned doing testing that's not always true. Because if you have anything like left in draft, if you have things that's pending that you haven't finished, that actually is first. That's why I'm telling you, it's better for you to know your CERT number as well as your SAR number, so you'll know to get back. If you forgot to print out the abstract at the end when you submitted it, you can always pull that at any time. When you go to, this is the episode, remember this is an action wheel. If you want to view that again, you can view it. You can go in and there it is again. So if you say, oh man, I clicked at it too quick, that's okay. You can always print it from the member overview. Any questions for submitting the outpatient request?
Could you, Lakeisha, show it how to, if you don't know the member's ID number and need to search by name, can you show that again of how to do that?
Yes. To search, if you don't know the member ID number or the members, you'll go to My Members and you can search by their last name, their first name. You can put in a date of birth. It might give you a lot. One of our people we work with is
White?
Let's see if it comes up.
I can't remember which provider we're under though.
Okay, as you can see, we put in white. It's not one that we are testing on, but we're just going to act like we are. So you just put in the last name. As you can see, it's going to be different ones, but at least you have the date of birth. So you'll know if you get multiple. You can put in their name. Let's see, Outlook, AL. PC, that's a different, you know their full name, as you can see, only that name came up. And to get to their member overview, to look at the member, you'll click in their name and that will bring in their member overview. Again, you remember that memory list I was telling you about that will help you? Because I can't remember who we were. So if you click on the memory list, oh, I was in Lisa, it will tell you the last, like these will tell you the steps that you were in. So I want to go back to Lisa. That's who we put in the behavioral health request in for. So this is your memory list that I was telling you about that will keep you, you know, if you like, who was that I was working on or what, you know, it'll give you kind of list of what you have been doing in the system. Again, this will only hold 10. If you want to get rid of one, like I know we did that medication ad, I don't really need that anymore because it's not gonna let you continue to go if you have more than 10. So I'm gonna go back to Lisa because that's where we were. I thought that's where we were. I think we were in Lisa though, weren't we? Yeah, we were, because that's the certain number at 101. So we were in Lisa. All right, any other questions for
I don't
behavioral
see
health?
any, no.
Okay.
No, I've kind of addressed a lot of them as we've gone.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't see any. But if I've missed something, everyone, so someone did give us how to calculate military time. So you and I can discuss that later.
Thank you.
Um,
Did I get it right? That's the question. Was it right or was it wrong? I can't even remember.
I think you got it right.
Oh,
Did you say 16?
I did say 16.
Okay, yeah, I think you got it right.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
So, but yeah, if I've missed a question, just drop it in the chat again, so it'll be right in my face and we'll get to it.
All right, because I'm looking at the time and we got a couple of stuff to go. I really went through the behavioral health request, outpatient request, very detailed. Like I went through it detailed because inpatient request is the exact same way of how to submit. So I'm going to go quicker on this one. But feel free to ask any questions. Feel free to even say, tell Sarah, tell Keisha to slow down. And I will slow it down if I have to. But again, we're gonna, remember I told you it's 2 ways to be able to add a request. One of those ways were in the menu when you could just do the new request. We did that. The second way is like we just did. You just look up your member and or if you know, if you're in your dashboard and you see, oh, you know, your request and you was like, oh, it might be time for a reauth or you know your member's name, you can go into the member. As long as you're in the member overview, the only thing you have to do is click add request. So you can get there by new request or go into your members and put in their name. Like we just showed you how to do to get to their member overview, and the add request is only on the member overview. So that's the only way you can add that request. Even that new, even if you went to the new request, it's going to bring you to the members overview. Even that way, you'll just click the add request. Where we already did the outpatient, we're going to do a behavioral health inpatient. We click on that and it's the same screen, guys. It's the same thing. So that's why I said I'm going to go through it a little quicker so we can get through some of the other and get you out. My goal is to try to get you out right at 5 o'clock. So.
No one wants to stay past 5.
No.
But we will. Lakeisha and I will stay past 5.
I will.
Again, we do not want to rush you in any way, but we know you all want to be done at 5.
So again, this request type is going to be initial, which is a pre-certification. Again, the ones that we would use will be concurrent a retrospective, but we're gonna do an initial. Now, it's inpatient, you're only gonna have expedite, so it's gonna be an expedited request. And it's gonna ask you for inpatient, it's gonna ask for like you can put the admin type, and we're gonna put behavior, because it's behavioral health. Then you're gonna have to put in their diagnosis. Let's see, they are, schizophrenia unspecified. Let's say that. Again, you can put in many other ones in here. They might also have, let's see, major depressive disorder. Let's just say they might have that. Again, primary, which one is the primary is what's going to be the yellow star. You can take a diagnosis out. You can change the date to when that diagnosis was given. The next step is you have to attach yourself to this SAR. You want to be able to let us know you're serving this member, and you're going to be billing this member, getting paid. But it's one more step to inpatient that's different from behavioral health. So my behavioral health.
Outpatient.
For outpatient. My behavioral health outpatient people, close your ears for a second.
But behavioral health inpatient, keep your ears open.
That's right. Behavioral health inpatient, keep your ears open.
And if you are, there's been some confusion, and this did come up, and I did kind of address it in the chat. So we were, Lakeisha and I were originally told that anything that's not a hospital has to be requested as outpatient.
Right.
We have very recently learned that that may not be the case, and that ICFs and PRTFs should be requested as inpatient. I'm confirming on FBCs. I believe facility-based crisis is still going to be outpatient, but ICF and PRTF may be inpatient. So I'm saying that because if you're ICF or PRTF provider on the call, also pay attention now.
Yeah,
so
that's true. So for inpatient requests, it's one more step because we're moving to the physical world, and in the physical world, they like and I know y'all have heard head in the bed. They want to make sure they get that bed that stay in there as well. When you go to the hospital, we all know if you get a bed in the hospital, you're going to pay for that bed in that service. So it's kind of like the same thing here. You'll look for your site again. It could be many. I'm just, when you find it, you're just going to click multiple attach 3 times.
repeat 3 times.
3 times.
For inpatient.
You're gonna do it 3 times, that multiple attach. And when you do, you'll go to the bottom, and there they are. We're gonna be servicing the member, and we're in there. Oh, look, this one says in network. Look at that. Hey, okay, good. I'm so used to going over to change it. In network, we are going to get paid for this member. They are in network. We're going to get paid. And because they're in the hospital, we have admitted them in the hospital. So if you're a behavioral health inpatient, also could be for PRTFs and IFCs. What's that?
PRTF, ICFs.
ICFs, okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you have 3. You're going to have servicing, billing, and admitting, because you're admitting them in for the stay. You're going to attach that to your episode, your SAR. You see we have all 3 of them. If you got 2 billing, say these were 2 billing to admitting, you can go in and change those. Like if you get to the screen and say, oh, I didn't do the admitting. So you can go in and see the little error. You can do them there as well. If say you're looking back at your notes and you are a behavior health outpatient and you have this admitting, you're like, I'm not supposed to have that. You can easily go in and push the minus to delete it, and it will detach. But we don't want to detach it from today because we do need all three. So we attached our provider. Now we have to go into the stay in inpatient. So this is going to be inpatient hospital. They're the opposite on both of these, so I always.
I know. I think it's hospital.
Hospital inpatient. And then you're going to put the expected admit date when they are in the hospital, which is that day, because we're emergency. It's not, we usually don't have a day like a pre-hospital inpatient stay. But of course, I have to be mindful that we're going to be serving physical health, and people do schedule physical stuff. So, but this is the admit date when they're admitted to the hospital, which would be today. How long are they going to be in the hospital, which is 3 days? It's still missing.
Yeah, so we will
the
point out here.
date
So when this goes live,
right here.
and it used to have this, you'll under expected admit date, you'll also have actual admit date. So you'll only have to fill out one of those. Again, as Lakeisha just pointed out, with expected admit date, we're going to have physical health. So someone might schedule a knee surgery for 3 weeks from now. So they're submitting the request, but that's not happening, for 3 weeks. So that's the expected admit date. But then maybe it will change because there was a cancellation, then get you in sooner or whatever. So expected is not actual. For our behavioral health inpatient, and actually, honestly, if we're talking about PRTFs and ICFs, you might also still have an expected admit date because they're coming next week to be admitted. They're stepping down, or usually they're stepping up, but they're maybe they're in a level 3 group home. They're discharging from that group home next week and coming to you. So you might have an expected admit date. Our behavioral health inpatient hospitals will most likely be using the actual admit date, which should be
right here.
It should look exactly like the same boxes, but say actual admit date, and it will be right where Lakeisha's pointing, right there. And you can use either one. It doesn't really matter. So if you're like, well, in training that box wasn't there and I don't remember this, just use expected admit date. But for behavioral health inpatient hospitals, as Lakeisha was saying, you're really always going to know the actual admit date because we don't have pre-planned psychiatric hospitalizations. So those are always, unexpected events. So maybe not totally unexpected. We might see it coming, but when it actually happens is unexpected. So.
And so inpatient hospital is a place of service. Psychiatric is going to be your level of care. So you have to, and this is here because some places it's just going to be a stay. It won't be a service. So that's why you have to click to add the service for your hospital, for the inpatient. So you'll click in there to add the service. Again, it's going to drop down. Your revenue, 0101. That's your service code. And then here's your dates. And your day is, and we wanted them that we try to tell Jiva, we count our days 3 days. You will have to enter your end date. So we do count 1, 2, 3. So your end date is actually going to be the 11th. So you get your full 3 days or 3 units in. So once you have that in, you will add that service. And there we are. We have our inpatient service added. Inpatient you can upload a document if you want. We like all the information, but that's not a requirement for inpatient. So you can check for review. If you are adding multiple documents, remember, add that first one first, and then you do check for review. You'll know it's good because it said request save draft successfully. You go down to your notes section. Again, that is going to be web note only. Put your justification. Put your justification for services. Don't forget your name, phone number, email address, if that's however you want us to contact you. All right. Once you put all your information in, you're ready to submit. You're going to submit the request. And you know it's submitted successfully because it has it up here. It goes to the next to the episode abstract. Here you can click on that. You can print it for your records.
You need me to go in and approve any of these?
Go ahead. Yeah. So that is our submitting an inpatient request. Do we have any?
Let me write down the.
Let me go back in. This
Yeah,
is
you
one.
have the number.
Mhm.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just writing down this number so I can go in and approve it. So
We can talk about extensions next. Oh, well, we're talking about, okay, any questions on submitting an inpatient request? Anything
no,
come in for that?
no.
Great, great, great. Okay, now we're gonna say, I'm gonna demonstrate how to save a draft of a request. Like you just wanna go ahead and get it started. You know you don't have all the documentation or anything like that. You just wanna go in and start. I'm just gonna use our Stacy Hutchins to cut down on time. Again, you have to be in the members overview. You always know where you are here in order for you to add a request. So you'll go in, we're gonna add a behavioral health request. It's an initial, it's a standard. Let's put in general anxiety. There we go. Again, if you know the F codes, just put them in. We want to go ahead and attach ourselves to the episode. Multiple attached. This is a behavior health outpatient, so you need 2. And see, the inpatient had in network, but our outpatient didn't. We're going to be servicing. We are in network, and we're going to be billing, and we are in network. Services and billing. We're going to attach that to our episode. We are attached. And say, okay, we know we are doing mental health, and we know we're going to be doing intensive in-home. So we're going to do intensive in-home. Our start date, we know we're going to start on Monday. Intensive in-home, the first request is 30 days. So we're going to go out to April with our 30 days, and we're going to ask for 20 units. That's the max for that we give for intensive in-home. And we can go ahead and add our service and say, oh, I'm waiting on signatures for the PCP. So I got everything in. I got our request in, our start date in, and I'm just going to save it until I get the plans all signed. It's not ready. As you can see, you can't even submit this because you can't submit anything until you check for review. So that's a good thing. You can't even, it won't even let you submit. So at this time, it's like, okay, I am done. I think I'm just going to wait for that PCP. So I'm just going to save it as a draft. It says it's successful. It's saved as a draft. So then once you get what you need, going back to Stacy, when you pull up Stacy's name, you want to do this immediately when you do your save for a draft. Again, I'm telling you, things, things will go out of order. As you can see, here's our draft. This is our status. Once you go back, write this cert number down. I'll write it down so I can remember. Write that cert number down, write that episode number down so you can get back to it. But your status will tell you, this is an open request. This status is a draft. It'll tell you the status of your request. So that's how you will save it. The status will be draft. If you go back to your, I'm gonna write down this whole number. So if you go back to your dashboard, and let me tell you this, as you can see, we've been working for an hour. I've been showing you all kinds of stuff, and our dashboard has not changed. It looks exactly the same as we started. So you think you've done some stuff. You wanna make sure you update your dashboard. As you can see, it'll tell you the last update was an hour ago. To update it, you're gonna click beside it to refresh your dashboard. And all right, other things have happened here. I need to clear my memory for you.
Oh, no, I did. I was able to do it.
You was able to do it? Okay. So you want to go in because this will tell you, oh, now we might have another approval that might have came in. Actually, we did have an approval that came in. You remember when we first started, we only had one approval in, but look, we just got an approval in. And you can click on that and it'll open it up and let you know, yep, we got a new approval that came in. So that's how you save. When you want to go back to that request, you will go into the menu and you will go into search request. You will put in the cert number. It'll be the easiest way to get back to it. And it will come up. This is the one that we have been working on. You'll go back in. You're going to edit the request because we're going to finish it up. And then you can finish it. Now you can put in your documentation. You can put in your justification for service. And when you're done, you'll be able to submit. As soon as you click on check for review. So that's how you will save a draft, for a request. You don't, before submitting if you need to.
Great.
Any questions?
No, I will say, again, just for time's sake, I am getting a lot of questions that are kind of not about Jiva. So I have been answering them, but for the rest of the time, I'd like to just stay focused on Jiva and the actual clicking of buttons in Jiva.
Yes, yes. Nothing's changing, so I don't know what the other questions are because I'm not doing the chat, but nothing's changing with service. When you submit, how you submit, anything service definition.
Number of pass-through days.
None of that changes.
What services we offer, all that kind of thing.
Only thing that we're doing is changing the way we submit the authorization in Jiva. Nothing else has changed. I do want to point out, we're going to do an extension next, but I do want to point out one good thing, and I'll do that when we do the extension. Let's go ahead and do the extension. An extension, and then I'll point it out in the extension. The extension is the same thing as we say reauthorization or concurrent authorization. And I'm going to say that it's time for Stacy's authorization. You can look Stacy up again through the member, put in her name. I don't have her name, her stuff. You can put in her name. If you have the cert number, you can do that by the request. I'm actually, because we did it today, going to use the approval because Sarah just approved it for us today. So we're going to go into her member overview. and it
It's that
was,
first one.
it was episode, remember, like I said, remember your cert number. And so what we're gonna do is, okay, it's time for, she's been in the hospital, our 3 days are up. This is the same thing we would do as a behavior outpatient. We could show that too. This is the cert number for the outpatient. I mean, this SAR number. Or
Sorry,
episode
okay,
ID,
episode ID.
yeah, or the one we did for outpatient. So to do an extension or a reauthorization, we're gonna open the request. And let me point something out real quick. When you open a request, you're not gonna be able to make any changes. This is how you read about your authorization. It will tell you the decision was approved, the reason why it was approved, your dates, the priority, the level of stay is here. Everything is here. When you're ready to extend or do a reauth, what you do is you'll click in the box. You only can click in one, and it will give you this box popped up. If I unclick it, it goes away. If I click it, you'll see these two boxes. The review, unfortunately for you all, that's for us as you would not be able to review anything. But this is where you will extend. This is how Jiva looks at it. We look at it as a reauthorization, a concurrent, but they said you're extending the request, and that's why it's called extension. So you'll click on the extension. And this one good thing about this is it gives you what are you extending. So this is your original request. It tells you what that original request is, how many days, the admit date, which is really good. When we go through and do an extension for behavioral health, that's going to be really good information to see on that end. But this is for behavioral health inpatient. So this is already stamped default. Your dates and times are going to be default for you. We're going to change this from an initial to a concurrent. So, and then we're going to go to, again, because it's inpatient, it's an expedited request, and it'll automatically put in the 72 hours for us to review. You're going to put, I'm going to need another 3 days with this member. They're continuing to act out. They're not making any improvement. So I'm asking for another 3 days. Once you have your 3 days in, you're going to save. Once it's saved, if you have any documentation that needs to be, this is where if you have a, doctor's order, something new to justify that, you will add a documentation here. And here is where you will tell us, you will add a note to tell us your justification for reauthorization. Again, it's always web note. This is always defaulted. This is your justification. You will put that, don't forget your name, number, however you want us to contact you. You're going to save that. And that's going to give us, as the reviewer, our updated justification for service. You're going to add, if you need to add a document, you're going to go here and you're going to add your document. Inpatient, we don't require a PCP, but just in case you wanted to upload a document, you'll just do that, save it, and that is entered. It's always the date and time is always stamped, so we know it's current. And then your provider stuff is always there too. So the right side is always edible for you guys, for providers. It's edible, so you can add notes, you can take, add a diagnosis. This is where you're gonna update all the information regarding the services you've been doing. You can tell us at this point, we added another diagnosis. we deactivated a diagnosis. This is continue on. This will let us know the changes within the members' overview. So you'll do that, and you have to do the same thing with the service. So you'll click into the service. And it would say extend, but we'll have to. I'm gonna have to screenshot that. So can we? I'm gonna screenshot.
Oh,
this
yeah.
because
Yeah.
it
Hold on a second. Let me do it.
the initial didn't do an extension
Oh,
for the
okay.
service part of that.
Okay.
We're still working out kinks, guys, so we will get that, but you will have to extend that service as well. If there's something different that they tell us about that, we would say that we will let you all know through our power. I know she's still working on the inpatient one, PowerPoint. We'll make notes of that and let you all know. So that's your extension. That is done. I know you're thinking, well, what else? Actually, when you saved it and added to here and did your updates, you have just extended the authorization. It goes back to the reviewer that reviewed the original one, and we'll continue to authorize it. We'll go back to the member overview. And it will show that it is in a open request. That is, let me do another extension for behavioral health one.
Yeah, I just did that. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. For an outpatient one.
Yeah, for an outpatient. All right. I just want to all right, see all that?
3 now.
Mm-hmm. Look at that, we got 3 now.
You're submitting some good
We're
requests.
submitting some requests. So it's this one that you did for behavioral health. Yep, right here. So we're gonna extend a behavioral health request. So you'll go in, you'll open the request, and again, you can't do anything over on this side. This just tells you again when it was that it was approved. It was the reason why it was approved, the dates, your request that was approved, how many was approved. Is here. When you're ready to do the reauthorization, you're going to click into that. You're going to hit extension. And we were doing CST. So we're going to pretend, we're going in future, we're going to pretend that it's already May already. But this is a good part. This is going to help us and you with overlapping requests, because it tells you the original information. It tells you that we had requested 460 units in the original request. As you keep going, it would keep adding. This was our start date. This was our end date. So you know when it started, you know when it ended. So that way, when you do the extension, it shouldn't overlap. You know when that date ended. So again, this is going to be defaulted with the date and time. You don't have to change it. You can if you want, but you don't have to. We'll change the request type to concurrent. And that's going to bring it automatically to standard, because we don't do expedited unless if it's inpatient. If it was an behavioral health inpatient, then it would have default to 72 hours. So it already gives us the timestamp of when us as UM have to review it. Your new requested unit. So we did 460, they're making progress. We can go down. They are found an apartment. So we can go down to say 360 units now. Our start date is going to be the day after, remember, our end date, which is going to be the 14th of May, so after our end date. Our new end date is going to be, at this point in CST, you can go 90 days. So we're going to go May, say June, July, August. And we're gonna take it out to the 3 months. Then we'll save. We have all our our dates in, we're gonna save it. It's gonna bring us back here, and this is where we're gonna put in our justification for continued service. You're gonna add a note, always web note. This is always defaulted for you. Put your continued, justification for and don't forget your name. This is very important, guys, because we'd like to talk if it's an issue. And nowhere in Jiva, unless we're gonna call home offices, and we know that's not relevant to call a home office when you all work in the field. Your name or however you want us to contact you. If you rather for us to email you, that's fine, but some sort of way to contact you if we have a question. You'll save that note, and you will add your updated PCP or any other relevant documentation that is needed for the reauthorization. We'll just say PCP for now. You're gonna browse, you're gonna go get the new PCP. You don't have to go back and get the original because it's already in that episode. This is ongoing. That's the one good thing. If you already did the original, we should be able to have the original service order, the original everything throughout the stay, throughout the service. So these are all new documentation that need to be uploaded. So you'll save that updated PCP because everything will be here in your documentation, and it has the dates when it was added, so it will keep on going. So if we needed to go back and see that service order, we could just go back to the original one and find it. So that's good that you don't have to keep uploading the same documentation to each SAR. You don't have to do that in Jiva anymore, just the new information. Then once you upload your document and once you put your justification for stay, you have just submitted for reauthorization. I am over, dang it.
I know.
I'm
we're so
over.
close. But we only have one more thing to do, right?
I know, we only have one more thing.
And it's quick, it's quick.
This is really, really quick. But I did pretty good, I think, guys. Any questions first before I move on to our last thing? Any questions about how to do an extension? No?
No, not in the chat.
Good.
They've all been about kind of the documents that you just said that you don't have to keep uploading the same
You don't
document
have
over
to
and
keep,
over.
nope, just any new information. The new the ones that the current ones. Okay, we're gonna refresh. And checking the status of your request. We kind of really went over that, to be honest. And it's easy to do. It's all you have to do is put in, you'll go into search the request. And of course, I done said it, I don't know how many times, you're gonna put in that cert number or you're gonna put in the episode number. We have both.
Either one, I guess. Is fine.
Yep. We can put in the cert number. You're gonna hit search. And it will tell you, once you hit that, it will tell you the status is pending.
Oh, that's because the extension is pending.
Yeah, the extension is pending. That'll tell you if you put in, I think, I did an extension on all of these, I think. But that way, once you put in the cert, this status will tell you where this request is. Again, guys, you can also see it in your My Request. That's going to give you a full view of everybody that you have, and it will tell you the status. If it's processed, remember, it's been processed. So you'll know what decision it is. You can go on and you can look for that cert number and you can open it and see what that status is. Oh, it was approved. The initial was approved. Remember, we went in and did the extension. The extension is what we're waiting on a decision. So that's how it's multiple ways you can check for those. You can go into the search the request. You can go into looking at my request and click on it from there. And it tells you the status of the request.
Can you show them, you probably already did, but I was, attending. Can you show them how to pull up the episode abstracts?
Yes.
So that they can print it and get their certification in case they want to print the authorization for their records?
Right. So let's go into one that's been approved, which is this one. I'm going to go on that's been approved. If it's been approved, like process and approve, I think this one has. Let's go
It's
into
in 149.
Is it the cert number or
The cert number right there, yeah.
And if you want to pull it to see, once we approve it, you want that in your record, all you have to do at the member overview, again, this is an action wheel. All you have to do is go back to view abstract. And the information will be there. As you can see, it tells you, again, how we did it when we created the episode or the SAR, we had the information, but once it's approved, it's kind of filled in now. Here's the last note. Now it tells you the diagnosis, your provider. It tells you that it has.
So this one was actually denied.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. It was approved. It gives you the decision.
It gives you the decision. So you'll have it in your records. So it'll tell you here what decision was made on that request.
And the authorization number is the certification number that's on here. So
Yep.
right there, you see it? Can you circle it for them?
Which one?
Cert
Oh, right
number.
here.
Yep, that's your authorization
That's your
number.
authorization number. Yep. So you can always go to that, and like I
Then you
said,
can print that printable view.
oh,
you
that
can-
printable view, yeah.
And then
Let
you
me
can
go back.
download it as a PDF, or you can.
Here it is here, and you can go to that printable view, and it will go into a screen where you can print. So you can put that in your records. And it's one other thing I forgot to show you too, that I think is one of the things that we as reviewers like, but it's something I think you all are gonna be able to like. And that is when you're in an episode, or you don't really even have to be in an episode, you can even be in a member's, episode, in the episode. If these little workflows are very, you can get to a lot of things here. One of the things I want to show you guys is if you go to this little hamburger thing, it's the green button when you're in the episode. You have to be in an episode to see this. Click on that hamburger, and it has all our behavioral health clinical coverage policy. So you don't have to go look for it. It is here for you. So if you're like, what is the service code? Keisha keeps saying it don't meet medical necessity. Look at the service definition. So you can always click on that, and it will take you straight to the state's website. And here are all of our physical and mental health. Here's behavioral health service definition. So you'll have that right at your hands where you can just look and see what it is. So if I say, let me look at that definition one more time, you can just click on that and you can open it up, and of course mine is not set, and it will open up and give you the definition. So I thought that is a really good, oh, there it is right here. See, it will bring up that definition for you. And you can read through the definition if you want to look at it. Let me just make it bigger so you can see it. And it's at a fingertip for you. So I think that's a really good thing to show you guys. It's in the hamburger and it's over here in clinical coverage policies. Let me show you another thing. If a authorization was denied or reduced and you need that letter, you remember we talked about the denial letter. That's gonna be in the hamburger. So you'll bring up the episode of the denial, see it was denied. You will go into the hamburger, you will go into correspondence. You will click on correspondence, and this is where you will see the letter. Look at that, it's already there.
All right. Now what the letter says, we don't know.
Yeah. But
It may
once
not look
you-
like a letter.
Yes, once it comes up, again, action, you can click on that and you'll be able to view. And I think it just has probably our, it's just a generic letter.
Yeah, I think
It's
so.
probably is
Might
up
be,
there. Might not come up. But it will show you the letter that, the reason for the denial that will be mailed out to the member. So as a provider, if you want that letter, then you can always go and get that letter and you'll see what it says about the reason for the denial. Again, that is in the hamburger. Clinical coverage policy is in this little green 3-layer lines, and your letters that's where that is at as well. For a denial or a reduction or administrative denial, those are where those are going to be located. All right, any questions about how to find the status of a request? Go back to our dashboard, and we did some more work. We did some, I like to see the color of the dashboard. Any overall, lasting questions, because I'm gonna turn it back over to Cheryl to end it, or if any lasting thing that she might want to say. But
no, so now's the time. If we didn't address a question you need answered, go ahead and put it in the chat and we'll try to get answered. As we mentioned at the beginning, we still do not know when Jiva is going live. We will alert you all when we do know. We will alert you through multiple ways. The listserv, which we have through our network department for all the providers. Some of you on this call may not be on that listserv. You can request to be on that listserv by going to the provider help desk. We will also post on our website. We will post it on Alpha, and then I will be sending emails as part of this training. We get an attendance report, and so if your email is linked to that attendance report, then everyone who attended one of these 3 trainings will get an email with updates. So you might get the updates in multiple ways, just to warn you, because you might get it through the listserv, you might get it through my email, all that. So, yes, you will use Jiva. You're going to use Jiva for every service we do. So state-funded services, Medicaid services, in lieu of services, alternative service definitions. B3 services are going away, but for right now we still have them, and they'll become 1959s. Everything will be requested through Jiva.
Yep.
So we will keep you posted. We will post the video on the website and send out an email alerting you that it's been posted. The training guides that have been posted need some revisions based on some changes that have happened since they were created. So updated ones will be posted. You'll be alerted when those are posted. You'll be alerted when the new training guides that haven't been posted yet are posted. We really want to try to keep you all informed. And like I said at the beginning, you're learning this, we're learning this. We're hoping that we can all be patient with each other and work with each other to make this a successful transition. So.
Just to answer that, yes, as I went into the episode, I didn't, I'm not going to fill it out. This is your service code. It's the same thing you would do in Alpha. Whatever service code you enter, it should show up. So B3 service, everything will be in Jiva. So just because I didn't show your particular service doesn't mean it's not in there. Just go to the service code. Again, we talked about it's either under the CP code, HIPAA code, or it's probably, if it's behavior, it has to be in one of those 2. But your code, all you gotta do is type in that code and it will, it will come. I didn't do a lot of the IDD, but they're there. Type in the code that you would usually type in for your service. And as you can see, it will come up. So I just, I want to show you that on screen. So it don't matter what service it is, it should come up.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I got distracted. Yeah, sorry, I got distracted. We did have a question. This has been a question in other trainings, so I'm glad it came up here. Will the first SAR we enter into Jiva be a pre-certification, even if there are previous auths in Alpha? So the previous authorizations will be showing up in Jiva. Not if you have an auth request that hasn't been decided yet in Alpha. Those won't show up in Jiva. But if it's already been processed, those authorizations will show up in Jiva. So you will request your first Jiva one, the one that you're first typing into Jiva and not Alpha. If it's a reauthorization, you're going to do a concurrent stay on that. You'll do it as a concurrent. Now, I will say this, that's what you're going to select from the drop down. You will not be able to do an extension on those ones that transferred over from Alpha. So you're going to go through this whole process like it's a new one, but she'll show you right here.
Yeah, instead, because it is a reauthorization, so you will click on concurrent.
But you'll have to go through these steps.
But
you won't be able to do that extension.
Yeah, you don't do an extension. You'll have to go to the steps. So the steps, but it is going to be considered a concurrent because you already been serving this client, or this member. So yes, you will go through everything, but you'll just change it from initial to let us know that it's actually a concurrent. And then your next one after this, and once it's entered, that's when you're going to do your extensions.
Yep. I think that's all we have so far. So I know Lakeisha really wanted us to get out of here at 5, so we wouldn't keep you after 5 o'clock, but hopefully kind of going a little bit slower and not trying to rush it at the end was helpful. So we appreciate all of you. We appreciate you for attending this. Yep. We will be doing a refresher once we know when go live is. So we will alert you when that refresher is. So if you feel like, it was helpful to go through once, but I could really use seeing it again so it gets into my brain, you're welcome to attend again. And you're welcome to not attend again. If you're like, I think I got it and I can just use the training guides, then we're not going to hold it against you if you don't attend the refresher. So
no, not at all.
So we will, since there's no more questions that I see, we're going to say goodbye to you all and let you all go. And I'm going to put right here in the chat my email address. If you have questions, please feel free to contact me. And hopefully you all found this helpful and we appreciate you.
Stop the recording.